Hello everyone and welcome to the Anime's Idiot, and thank you for joining me as we talk about The Tower of God episode 6. Now, I have done my formal review on this episode already, so this video is basically me going over things that I have missed, and you guys in the comments of my initial review have pointed out key interests, area points where I should check out and see if I understand them more correctly. And basically, I've now managed to rewatch this episode again a couple more times, and there are a few things that I have missed, and I do thank all of those people who suggested sections for me to watch to better understand certain situations, and in this video, let's go over and talk about just that. So, number one, it's not a massive thing that I missed, but it's something that does pique my interest a little bit, and that is, we get told that you have to basically create a contract with each floor. So the monster that we see Bam creating a contract with in this episode is basically there's one for every single floor, from my understanding of this scene, and this could be quite interesting moving forward, as it gives the writers the options to make a twist in where a floor, monster, or whatever you want to call it, guardian, doesn't deem a character worthy of having a contract, meaning that creates a new problem for a character to overcome, and I just think that's cool. I mean, it's something that I missed. It's not very big in the whole grand scheme of things, but it's still something that they could possibly play with moving forward, and it does pique my interest. Number two is something that I believe I'm overly overthinking in this regard, but I just couldn't leave this out because it's something that was very interesting that I noticed when looking at this scene again. On the image here, you can see exactly how Bam signs his name, and that basically, to me, just seems really weird, because it's my understanding that Bam doesn't have his memories, and giving someone the surname of 25th is very weird even for Rachel standards. Rachel is a character who's very kind of mysterious and very hard to read, like she's self-indulgent and kind of self-inflicting pain on herself by keeping away from everybody, almost mentally pretty much, but at the same time, she's still a character that I'm just confused by, if I'm honest. But I wouldn't think she would give someone the name 25th without a reason. And the fact that we've never seen this before just kind of goes, well, was this a situation in where Bam unleashing his full power in episode 5 resulted in him gaining a small amount of memory, meaning that the number 25 has some significance to Bam? Maybe it's like the 25th reincarnation of something. Or maybe Rachel has met 24 other people and have called them Bam, and she just thought, well, this guy's a 25th person that I need to call someone by a new name. I'll call him Bam and give him the 25th surname. Who knows? If you do, and it's not a spoiler, then let me know down in the comment section below. Again, I think I'm overthinking it, but you don't need to have a surname in this series. And that's obvious because if you look at the way that the other characters have basically signed their names on this sheet, they don't put that down. Khan has just put Khan, Ho has just put Ho, and yeah, so why put 25th? I don't know. Number 3, the main talking point of this video is in fact the canteen scene and the whole ordeal with Anak. So these two characters right here that you see behind me. A lot of you basically said that in my initial review, look, if you go look at the canteen scene again, that'll help you understand, the reasoning for Anak being killed and the pie baker, and it could help you speculate as to what might happen moving forward. So, Dorsey states that love in the family is forbidden. Now, when I first heard that, I did kind of catch it, but for some reason I thought that it was just her family in general. And then when you think about it, it actually means all of the princesses in total. So that's what she's referring to as being family. Okay, so moving forward with that in mind, it's obvious that being a princess of Jihad, the real Anak basically marrying the famous pie baker was essentially breaking the rules and going against that taboo, basically. So that's the reason as to why he was killed. But there's a bit more going into it. Because if we look at the reason as to why she was willing to break that rule, then it starts to unravel as to maybe the real Anak's kind of psychological standpoint into where her character actually was at that point. So, why would she break that rule? She's meant to be a princess. She's meant to be happy. She's meant to be, full of joy. The world is her oyster, basically. But no, she's a very unhappy character, and we know this from the dialogue that's given to us when we first see this character. Her first word is literally, liar. You promised me a life full of comfort, meaning that whatever she was getting, she wasn't happy with it. Which, this is only a guess on my part, but one guy having all of these princesses, whether that's being referred to as daughters, or whether that is just one prince having loads of wives, who knows? But it's safe to say that some of these princesses are forgotten, or they feel neglected. And this is obviously the case in Anak's, character. She obviously felt neglected. She felt like she wasn't happy with the way things are going, and she wanted something more. That's why she got in with the famous pie baker, married him, and unfortunately, the events unfolded. She got found out, and that's where we left with the burning of the building and the pie baker dying, and Anak as well. But it's unclear as to whether or not they died at the same time. I believe they died separately, and I'll explain why in just a second. But the one question I have is, why kill the pie baker? Plus, as a side point, the fact that he's a famous pie baker, come on, Anak, you did a real dumb thing there. If you married a normal jabroni, you would have been fine. Or at least you would have lived a bit longer with him and been a bit happier for a bit more time. But the fact that he was famous meant that everyone knew who he was, therefore she couldn't hide it. But yes, why kill the pie baker? To teach Anak a lesson? Kind of. But if it was another sister that killed him, then would it be out of jealousy? Or would there be one sister that's basically a sucker for the rules? Or whatnot? Who knows? There could be an amount of reasons that, we can only start to guess at. But I can see a situation in where, yes, a sister did kill the pie baker. And I do personally believe that. Do I believe it's in Dorsey or Yuri? No, I do not, because they are from a different generation of princesses. The reason as to we know this is because Dorsey basically states, why did my niece do that? Or something along those lines. She refers to Anak as being her niece. So then, that basically means that there is a different generation gap / line within the princess's hierarchy. And that to me seems pretty cool. I want to explore that more and see where that develops and where that goes. Plus, we haven't seen all of the princesses yet. Meaning, there's loads of personalities out there that, might surprise us as we move forward. So then, why do I think that Anak, the real one, was actually killed at a different time? Well, yes, we see the gemstone, but maybe the gemstone was like a marriage token. So we can kind of exclude the fact that the gemstone being in a burning building meant that Anak burnt alive that way. I believe that Anak was killed off basically because it was like an execution or something similar, but basically it was to send a message to the other princesses, showing them that this is the results of you falling in love with somebody else. Break this rule, and you pay with your life. Now, in Anak's case, she might have actually been happy to die instead of being kept like a slave or trapped in a relationship that really wasn't going anywhere for her or made her extremely unhappy. Yes, she had a little Anak, but that's all that's going to basically keep her going at that point. That's why she was unhappy. That's why she moved and married the pie baker, thus breaking the taboo that no one is meant to break. But honestly, that's all I've really got. I mean, even from those scenes, we could speculate a little bit on, but we still don't have all the pieces. So hopefully, as the episodes progress and as we move forward, we learn a bit more moving forward, and we can kind of elaborate. We can start building a bigger picture. But I want to know what your thoughts are on this type of video, just in general, like me revisiting an episode. If you like it, then please let me know down in the comment section below. Any feedback would be brilliant. I intend to do this video like a day or 2 days after the actual episode airs, thus being devoid of most spoilers, as well as the fact is it gives me a bit of time to kind of process my thoughts. Because It's often the case that A, I don't have time to watch the episode more than once on a Wednesday night, but at the same time, my brain is very random, and it's sometimes like if I'm driving or just lying down, sitting down, watching telly, a couple of hours later, my brain just goes, that's what that scene meant. Okay, cool. But I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, consider hitting that like button. Really appreciate it. Subscribe if you're new so you never miss a video from me. And let me know all your thoughts down in the comment section below. Other than that, I hope you have an amazing day. Arigato, matane, goodbye.